My name is Rachelle Smith, certified personal fitness trainer, professional speaker, and author. Last time, I shared with you some details of some gym adversity that I'm dealing with in my home gym, Powerhouse in Novi-Michigan. First off, I want to I heard back from several of you. Thank you for your thoughts, for your concern, for your encouragement in this situation. It is greatly appreciated and it has not gone unnoticed. But this time, I actually want to take last week's conversation a couple of steps further to aid you if you should find yourself in a situation like this. In these type of scenarios, if you're dealing with a stalker inside or outside of the gym, these type of scenarios happen to both genders. So yes, it happens to women, but it also happens to men. All these uncomfortable situations, unfortunately, plague both genders. And so the first point I want to make is the importance of documentation. Documentation is so important in situations like this. And as I look back in hindsight, I can see how my sales career that I spent last several years in corporate America in sales, you become, if you work in sales long enough, you become really good at documentation. You're very good at basically you develop a photographic memory in many respects of interactions that you have with people, dates, times, where, when, all of that. So my documentation in this scenario was very strong, and that's actually something the officer pointed out, was that my level of documentation, of course, not only my own interactions with this particular older gentleman, but also my attempts to rectify it with management, all documented, all on paper via email. So documentation is so important, folks. You've got to know the whens, the wheres, the whys, the hows, all of those questions, the whats. You need to be able to document that. And point number 2 is not discounting the situation. And I'll kind of give you an example of this. You got to kind of face reality, see things clearly for what they are, and not kind of make excuses for people. And in this particular scenario, I told myself, and if you know me well, you know I'm very big, it's just how I was raised, and I'm giving people the benefit of the doubt. All right, so in this particular scenario, early on I told myself, okay, this guy's like 70 years old, okay, later on kind of walks around, talks to himself, and utters and makes weird noises. Okay, now particularly that second point I just made is, yes, that may explain behavior, but that does not justify behavior, okay? So I want you to know the difference between those two. It doesn't matter what somebody else is doing or what they're dealing with or any mental instabilities or anything else. That's not your problem. That's their problem, and if their behavior is making you uncomfortable, you need to address it. So don't discount a situation. Don't make excuses. Don't say, well, you know, a man may say, well, you know, it's a woman, and no. Don't make any excuses for people. Situations are what they are. And if they're making you uncomfortable and it's becoming a bad situation, you need to address it and deal with it. And so, literally, speaking of discounting, literally even as recent as a few weeks ago, I would literally stand by a weight machine in between sets as I'm resting between sets and literally just kind of look around like, okay, is John Quinones from that TV show, What Would You Do, about to roll in here with his camera crew and say, you know what, Rachelle, we know you've been dealing with this ridiculous situation, but it's all been a setup. Ha ha ha, where everyone laughs and says, oh, you're on this show. All right, okay, that never happened. Or perhaps even, okay, a new reality show is being created and somebody's about to tell me I'm about to be on a pilot episode. All right, that never happened, okay? So it's easy to kind of look at these situations like, is this some kind of joke? Like, this is really just nonsensical at this particular point, all right? So take situations for what they are, face reality, and be proactive. And thirdly, don't assume that individuals, employees, whether it be staff, management, whether you're talking about inside of a gym or outside of the gym, is equipped to handle situations like this. Do not make that assumption, okay? Because at some point, if a situation isn't rectified, particularly like in my case, you will have to escalate it to law enforcement, all right? Staff may not be comfortable and confident. I use that word confident a lot. You know, I'm very big on confidence. So staff may not be confident in addressing situations like this, but I assure you, I can promise you, law enforcement is. You know, they're used to dealing with situations like this. They are not afraid. They're not intimidated. They're very good at conflict management, conflict resolution. So do not hesitate to give them a call because they're partners with your community. And I'm living proof of that with them intervening in this situation. And speaking of intervening, there's a cute, older lady, much older than me. She says to me this morning at the gym, "You're not going to leave Powerhouse, are you? You inspire so many people in this gym. Okay, that's great, but my purpose for coming to Powerhouse is not to inspire people. My purpose is to work out, come here to work out in peace. All right, so, and that's the question. At this particular point, I can't rule it out, ultimately leaving. But I do enjoy Powerhouse. Unfortunately, this situation is definitely, I'm greatly disappointed in how this was handled, or, how I had to escalate this on my own to law enforcement for it to be addressed and kind of dealt with. But hey, people are human. And so one thing that I'm big on, or it's so important to my workout, is I used to run track. So sprinting is important. Okay, Powerhouse has an indoor track. There's a Lifetime very close by. I have a great level of respect for Lifetime Fitness. And they don't have an indoor track. And so that would be a dream facility if it had an indoor track. But hey, I enjoy my workouts at Powerhouse. If I was in a situation where I had to repeatedly deal with management and I didn't get law enforcement involved, absolutely, I would have been gone in a New York minute, because I'm no nonsense. All right, and that was truly nonsense. But since I've reached out to law enforcement, dealt with this through the appropriate channels, I'm much more comfortable in this situation. All right, so it is what it is. For now, I'm just going to continue to enjoy my workout, stay focused on my fitness, and stay focused on encouraging you to remain fit despite what adversity or nonsense comes your way. So folks, be empowered. Keep moving on regardless of what comes against you, because fitness is, like I said last week, it's a lifelong journey. You've got to be committed. You've got to be confident enough to press on when things come against you. Thanks so much for your time. Make it a wonderfully fit day.